Hey, welcome back to the Inside Gaming podcast where we talk all about video games. I'm Brian, your host. It's boys' night here on the podcast.
Ooh.
Let's introduce the rest of the gang. Yeah, it's time for us.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Evan. Let's talk about the video game news. Sorry, I just cut you off. What's up?
Oh, no, that's fine. I don't have anything important to say.
Good, because I'm going to cut you off later.
I have to retrain myself every time I'm on this show.
Yeah, it's a ride. You know, we keep it
Evan's a freight train on his intro. You got to get out of the way. You got to do yours quick and then jump off the tracks.
Step aside.
Yep, that's right. Boys, we have a ton of stuff to talk about, and probably the first, Cyberpunk. Newsflash, delayed again. It's not coming in November, and people don't seem to be taking this well. I mean, there's definitely the usual, we get the Miyamoto quote about how a rushed game is bad forever and all that. But I've noticed a lot of, it seems like exasperation with CD Projekt Red when it comes to this delay. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but it seems like it's turning a little bit on him. Now, it's all going to go away, I'm sure, once the game comes out. I'm sure it's going to be good. But right now, people are a little more annoyed than normal.
Yeah, definitely more annoyed than the first couple delays.
Yeah, it's reaching a fever pitch, yes. And I mean, I can't honestly say that I'm surprised. I feel like Zelda games have been delayed 3 times in the past, or officially delayed or whatever. I can't remember. I feel like Wind Waker.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild got delayed a lot.
And there's been like the game that was supposed to come before Wind Waker, that was a big deal because it got canceled. There was like a chapel demo or something that leaked or got out where like Link fights a spider boss or something in like a church or Ganon maybe. I forget exactly. But that game got canceled. Then Wind Waker came out and then people were really pissed. And then Wind Waker also got delayed. So I don't know. Like this Cyberpunk stuff is... I mean, it's like history repeating, but for people to be sending death threats and stuff, it's never okay. It's never okay to do that.
Yeah.
Well, let's withhold judgment and see what their points were, and then
they might have. Yeah, maybe they thought about this long and hard.
That's right. It takes a long time to cut out all those individual letters from newspapers and then send them from a post box.
Plus, getting pictures of game devs to poke the eyes out of is it's harder than you think. They're not public facing figures.
There's not a lot. Yeah.
I've never sent a death threat about anything. I've never even thought like, this is going to get me what I want if I just randomly threaten a stranger over the internet. But I do think that the point this time was CD Projekt Red had sworn up and down that there weren't going to be any more delays a day before they promised a fan who had taken off work or who was going to take off work that it was going to come out. They tweeted earlier this month that it had gone gold. So it definitely seemed like this time, okay, we're finally going to get it. And then much like Lucy pulling away the football from Charlie Brown, once again, they did it. So I understand people being frustrated. Obviously, don't be a dick about this and you know, threaten people. That's a little bit beyond the pale, but this does seem like, I also think that the closer we get to the holidays and the more time that sort of runs out of the year, I think people get a little more annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, they are definitely trying to get it in as soon as possible before the holiday release. Because what is the new date? The 20th? December 20th?
I thought it was December 10th.
I think it's September 10th. Yeah, it's an extra 21 days. But you're right, though. Like they can't extend it to next fiscal quarter. They have they have people they have to answer to in terms of like monetary obligations for a massive game release like this. I think people. I mean, I always feel like I've been disappointed by game delays, but I've never been mad about them. And I feel bad for the developers because they were already supposed to not be crunching, right? And then they double backed on that, and now they're crunching for an extra 21 days through just into December, right? That they originally weren't supposed to. So it's just wild and kind of like a train ride all around. And on top of that, to have like angry fans just being so frustrated and upset. But I don't know, you always wonder like how many of these people are like actually really angry or just like, jumping on the bandwagon of anger on the internet.
Yeah, you wonder if people just think that they're just sort of trolling online being like, edgelords about this shit instead of like committing actual crimes, which is what you're doing. Somebody, the guy released Andrzej Zawadski, I know I'm messing up that name, he shared some of the messages. It said one of the mildest messages some of us got: "I know where you live, bro. Release your game or you're finished."
Jesus.
But it was YOUR, so I don't know if they really know where they live, or could probably even locate Poland on a map. Release Cyberpunk or you and your family will be persecuted. I will burn you alive if you don't release the game. Yeah, that's definitely
okay.
That's a threat. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a weird, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been like mad about a delay. I've been mad about like a cancellation or something like that.
Yeah.
But a delay, like it's still coming.
Yeah, I've been mad about games coming out and being dog shit when I wanted them to be good.
I've been much more mad about that.
A delay is just aggravating. It's not like, I don't know, it doesn't make me seethe.
Right.
I just imagine that one fan on Twitter that did like ask for that confirmation and got it. You know, that is a Charlie Brown story. Like I can imagine this whole story around this person who was like, all right, I'm not on great terms with my boss. I got to get this one day off for Cyberpunk. I got to ask for this one perfect day off. You know what? I'll tweet the company and I'll ask them. I'll just gotta make sure. Yeah. And they get the tweet. They take the time off. They have like this weird, strange encounter with their boss, and then it comes down the next day. It's like, oh, it's delayed, and then it's like, oh gosh, and they try to go back to their boss and they get fired or something, and then their whole life just spirals out of control from there. I want
to know what their job is.
Imaginary campaign, imaginary story in my mind, but. You know, I mean, most things probably are not that dramatic. Like for a lot of us, it's like, okay, we're going to wait a little extra longer to play this really, really awesome video game. And it's going to have bugs, regardless of how many delays it has. It's an open world game. It's a very ambitious game. And it's a CD Projekt Red game, Witcher 3 was,
it's impossible that it can't have bugs.
It's impossible that it can't have bugs. Yeah. So I think there's like a lot of expectation. There's probably going to be a lot of YouTube trolling about like, oh, it got delayed this long and then it's this bad. Or if it's good enough, then all those people are just going to shut up and then be on the hype train. You know?
I don't understand why they keep. I mean, I guess they have to announce a release date for retailers and stuff, but I guess
so yeah.
Ooh, rumors and speculation time. Actually, I heard some stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just like, Jesus, stop giving us release dates. Yeah, just say it's delayed, and then like when it's done, be like it comes out in a week. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
There is like that sense of like, if you don't know when it's coming out, don't say something to make it real. I guess there's two elements of that. Like for creative people, it's good to have a deadline to force everybody to kind of focus on one goal to get something finished, especially something that's really ambitious. And that's part of like, there's like an ecology to crunch, and like a lot of people who argue like it's kind of like a needed facet in the industry. I don't think it's, you can fall one way on that or the other. But the other end of that is like there was a report that went up by Game Informer later yesterday talking about how like 90% of the company didn't even know that the game was going to get delayed.
No, that's right. Yeah.
They found out with the tweet.
Yes. They sent an email like timed around that tweet. So yeah, they didn't know either. And then imagine, and people have made this point before, but imagine what it must be like to think you're almost done. You got a few weeks left. Psych, you got till December now. You're definitely going to be like working into your holidays, because even when that game comes out, they're still going to be crunching to like fix whatever's wrong with it.
Patches and shit.
Yeah. And Pinguino like has become a minor celebrity over this. Like they had him, people had him on their like YouTube channels to sort of interview him. Yeah. A YouTuber, let's see, who is this guy? The small YouTuber, Alan Plays, had him on just to talk about, I guess, their interaction with Cyberpunk. That's how starved people are for Cyberpunk news. And I think I heard that he actually showed it to his boss, and then they got the day back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that might be a rumor.
Good for Pinguino. That's awesome. I just can't. I can't believe they didn't share that with like. I guess they don't want the employees to leak it or something, but like the fact that the day before everyone at the company was still thinking like this isn't changing, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like
Yeah, the Game Informer article made it sound like they were worried about insider trading. Like basically if people knew that the game was going to delay and stocks would drop and people could take advantage of that. So that's why they didn't want that information to get out. So that
is true. Yeah. That's actually, I think, valid, because it would. Yeah. I'm sure it would affect their stock price. I feel like their fiscal year runs like everybody else's through March 31st, so they've got more time, but I'm sure they want to hit that holiday
for sure.
season.
Which I mean,
regardless,
I guess you'd still get some of that with pre-orders, but not nearly as much.
Yeah. The other thing I had heard is like super secondhand from a guy who knew a guy who works in QC or whatever, but was saying basically that likely because it had already gone gold, that maybe the issue stemmed from the new console generation, right? And an unforeseen bug, that they would,
or not the new console generation. A lot of people. I mean,
people saying the old one.
That's what you heard. But I've also heard that trying to get it to run on like the original Xbox and PS4 is just not working. Which
is believable to me
because modern games don't run on the original Xbox anymore.
I think the difference is that there's a lot of documentation for troubleshooting any issues that you might come into running on that older hardware, which makes sense. But also we know that CD Projekt Red usually builds up. Like they start with a higher, hardware like benchmark and then come back down. So that could be also true. But the thing I heard was that like there's some new thing with the new consoles that maybe tripped somebody up that was like unforeseen, like something somebody hadn't seen before, and then they had to account for that. But I think both of those are, totally valid. We don't know. We're just shooting rumors off here into the wind.
I also feel like, and this is probably something that happens a lot, but I'll bet there was some feature creep on this game, and I think it got more and more ambitious, which is good. And it, it's not a Star Citizen thing. They've obviously got it for the most part finished. I feel like there are a lot of bugs and stuff, but I think the game probably grew to become more than what it was at the beginning. I don't, because now we have 3 different factions you can join and all the, sort of these branching paths, which is cool. I'm excited to play it, but I think it grew.
Well, and they had to take stuff out. That was too, like they had to remove third person entirely. They had to, because that was supposed to be in, and they had to take out, I think wall running was originally like a big feature that was like
some
showcased
kind of tool
and stuff.
And
they ended up having to take that out.
Also like Gwent 2. I heard someone put Gwent 2 in there. Just kidding. But that would have been sick. Give me a new Cyberpunk game, or let me play let me play Netrunner inside of Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
they actually put Witcher 3 in there. You can play it in your apartment on a console, like the OG Animal Crossing, where you could just play old Nintendo games.
What if they put Crysis in there, and then it's like, can Cyberpunk 2077 run Crysis?
Probably.
That's a joke.
Probably, I believe it. I'm still, this for me, this still doesn't lessen any anticipation I have about the game, and I feel like it's like that for the most part of the gaming population. Like, I'm not gonna not buy it because they delayed it again,
right?
I'm still gonna be just as excited if it gets delayed until December of next year. I'm still gonna buy it.
It's only getting better.
I did see some people that were like, this is just like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I'm out. I'm done.
Sure you are.
Like, no, it's not, because the game is getting made. It's not like there isn't a game.
Right.
That would, if The Boy Who Cried Wolf is that you're just lying about this thing that doesn't exist until it does. The game exists. It's out there.
It went gold. I mean, there's something. There is some sort of finished product. I don't know. I guess I have to take them at their word that they're just trying to optimize it now and get the ports all working properly. And for 9 different friggin' platforms, that's a lot. Like, they have to have, I would assume, a separate team for each one. I don't know. I don't know how this works.
For QC, potentially.
Yeah, like it's just a big undertaking. It's going to be the biggest game, one of, if not the biggest games of the year. I mean, I guess we have Last of Us and fuck the samurai game. But
Ghost of
Tsushima.
I think this is a significantly larger game if most of what we heard is true, and I think not even just like the year, it's going to be of the generation, probably
definitely
of the current gen, and maybe even into next gen based on how big Assassin's Creed is or whatever. But I think it's obviously doing very different things. But this is just a huge game. To expect it not to get delayed, I get why people are frustrated, because the messaging around it has been so like up and down and such a roller coaster ride. But at the end of the day, the people who are hurt most are the people who are working on this game and want you to play it and buy it. And I just can't imagine being in that situation, and then also having people upset with you, just probably on top of it. Hopefully they don't see any of that stuff. Hopefully all the developers just have their heads down and don't see it. But then again,
I'll bet
get
they
into
see
crunch.
it. I'm sure they see it. Also, and the multiplayer part isn't going to come out at launch either, right? So it's not like they're done.
I forgot that there's multiplayer.
Isn't there game? Yeah, I mean, it feels like they want this to be their GTA 5.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, that GTA 5, like on GTA Online and Reddit Online, like that stuff makes money. People don't really talk about it a lot, but yeah, it's like a large.
Oh my god, it makes money.
But the people who play it, I don't know what that player base is, but I mean, they spend a lot of money on that game.
Yes, they do,
for sure.
And like those games online are fun. I mean, they're very fun, but it's like I can't believe that they are still going strong. Like, other than, I mean, what else? Like WoW, I guess is
WoW,
going
Destiny
forever.
2, is kind of.
Well, Destiny 2's only been out for like 2 years, 2 or 3 years
that's
though.
True. Yeah.
WoW has been out for like a decade,
right? Right.
More than that, actually.
Oh, it's since the mid 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it came out when I was like
2006. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how the fuck. I mean, there are games that just last forever.
Sure. And Team Fortress was one of those, I feel like.
Team Fortress, Counter-Strike in some form. Yeah. Yeah, I remember I was playing an MMO at the time WoW came out, and we just lost like 3/4 of the server population, it felt like.
Yeah.
It just,
I was, what did I like doing at the time? Snowboarding. I thought that was pretty fun for me. Hanging out with my friends and playing Halo in basements was big.
Yeah.
And then
LAN parties. Yeah.
Yeah. WoW came out and all my friends started playing WoW. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cyberpunk
I was too busy. I don't know, having sex.
Being cool, smoking cigarettes at 15. Yeah.
I was doing that.
Sitting on
I was not having sex.
You were smoking cigarettes and making plans.
Yes, exactly.
And dreaming.
I was making plans to have sex one day. God willing.
Yes, the multiplayer is coming to Cyberpunk, but it won't be part of the base game. They have said in the past that the multiplayer component is its own AAA release rather than a mode hastily tacked onto the single player game. So definitely more of a GTA Online. They even said, let's see, back in the day that won't be out until like 2022 or 20, like they've said 2021 is unlikely. So like the crunching's not going to end at all.
No.
Oh man. Yeah, that's wild. Cause then you wonder how much the single player campaign delays affect the multiplayer. Usually they're two separate teams that work on that stuff. And I imagine CD Projekt Red is big enough for that, but there still is some crossover there, I imagine, between artists and and designers and things like that. But
so yeah, well, it's a bummer, but I feel like all these things, it's a temporary bummer. Like Red Dead 2 got delayed. It came out. It was good.
It did.
Everybody was happy. It did. Yeah. It was. You might have
heard. I don't remember.
See,
my memory only goes back so far.
It is. What was that? 2018 or 2019? I don't fucking remember.
Yeah. Once it comes out, everybody's gonna forget. It's gonna be fine. Yeah. It's gonna
instantly gonna be forgotten.
Yes.
And everybody who said they're not gonna get it, immediately when it starts trending on Twitter and people start posting screenshots and they go get it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of other games that are having their issues, Halo Infinite seems to be in a much worse spot than Cyberpunk. They have lost even more leadership.
What the fuck is going on over there?
I think it all stemmed from that thing in July when they showed off the gameplay and nobody liked it.
Yeah.
And I think they've just been cleaning house ever since. And now it is Chris Lee, the director of the game,
has
studio stepped back. Step back from the project. Now, we should note, Lee had been sidelined basically after that gameplay in July. It sounded like Microsoft kind of stepped in and cleaned house. They brought in a new person to kind of oversee it. So he had kind of been I think he had been on the outs for a few months now. But he finally stepped down and told Jason Schreier that he stepped back. He's looking at future opportunities. I believe in the team and am confident they will deliver a great game. And now is a good time for me to step away. weird that it's a good time because it's not even we don't even have a release date. So I feel like they could be like a year away at this point. But the new person who had stepped up was what is his name? Staten. Joseph Staten. They brought back in to run the campaign mode, and then Pierre Heinz, who was kind of in charge of the Master Chief Collection. They brought him in to do the multiplayer. So Lee, I think, had been on the outs. He's still at Microsoft, but it's basically the story is just goes to show that game seems very much in flux right now, and I think it's worth asking: is it even going to come out next year?
Ooh, yeah. I would say
I don't know.
They're going to pull the Cyberpunk thing, right? If they were to announce it now, like if they announce anything before March, I'd say it's getting delayed for sure because there's no way.
If they announce anything right now, it's not worth the paper it's printed on.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
When does the Series X come out? What's the release date? November
11th,
17th.
Oh well.
I think PS5 is the 12th, right?
We are good at our jobs here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, on the 10th. Sorry, the 10th. Okay. The PS5 is the 12th, I think, right?
Gotcha. That's cutting it.
Pretty soon.
I mean, that was supposed to be a launch game up until like how long ago did they announce the delay?
Wasn't Halo on some of the boxes for the Series X? Like,
I think it's on all the boxes.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's. I mean. This is their franchise. This is the thing I think it's the game you identify the most with Xbox.
That's what we were saying on the daily today. It's just like even it's got some other fairly high profile exclusives like Gears and Forza, but like the average person on the street I think would know that Halo was an Xbox exclusive. It's just like the most.
That goes back to the first Xbox when Halo Combat Evolved came out, and I remember everyone was like buying an Xbox to play that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think the box art thing is cool. I don't know. My favorite console box of all time is the Nintendo 64 one because it's got the Stormtrooper and it's got Mario on there. I don't know.
All your friends.
Yeah,
all your imaginary friends.
Totally.
They're all here.
But I think it's also Nintendo really set a precedent by releasing Zelda and Mario so close within the Switch's launch, but that's not always been the case, in the history of games. Like we don't always get a flagship exclusive at launch, So we've been a little bit spoiled in that way. So but I think for them to have planned to have it and then to take it away is very sucky, but it definitely I think helps push the consoles like units to have that game that you're like, this is the game and this is our game and this is like the big push to get everyone to buy an Xbox or I guess now download it also on PC. But yeah, it sucks that it got delayed. But yeah, I guess you're kind of right on the money, Brian. Like, is this game coming out? I think it'll come out next year probably, but I think you're fair to question it.
I think they were. I think you're right to bring up the Switch because it did seem like something they were trying to pull, similar to what Nintendo did with Breath of the Wild, which had been super delayed. That was going to be a Wii U game.
Yeah,
and then they, but it turned out to be a really smart launch title for the Switch because it was a big open world game. People could play it for keep everybody busy for a while, and then they could. Start cranking other stuff out. And I think Sony with Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think Spider-Man is not the closest thing they're associated with, but it's up there. I mean, it was super popular. And so, I think Microsoft said, well, we want that. And the obvious choice there is Halo. Mm-hmm. So it feels like, I don't know how much of a reboot they're doing. I don't think they're fully rebooting it, but they've been working on this a while, right? I mean, Halo Infinite has been in development for years and years now, I believe.
Yeah. And I wonder what's not working there. Like, is it just the way the game looks that people really had a problem with? I thought like the whip stuff looked cool. I thought like the grapple hook Master Chief stuff looked pretty cool where he like kind of grapples. He can grapple things and lift canisters and stuff.
Right, it does. Like it looks it looks cool.
It looks fun. And it looks
the graphics were a problem, obviously.
Yeah, I think it just didn't blow anybody away. Like I think that was the big. Like it looked fine. It looked like
as somebody
Halo
who like
game.
I played the first two Halo games when they came out. I really liked them, and then I just kind of never played them again. And now I don't. I mean, I've played them since I've played the rest of them, but like I really don't.
Yeah.
Care about the story or any of that anymore. And I just sort of like, and so I don't know, basically just, I'm not like super excited about a new Halo is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I would play it, but I'm not like fucking amped for it. So like, I don't know. It just, to me, it was like, oh, this looks cool. This looks like a cool take on Halo, but it also wasn't something that was like, oh shit.
Right.
I'm in.
Right.
Yeah. And for me, it's like there isn't really another like first person shooter experience that provides that same like combat puzzle that Halo kind of presents you with, of like the needler's over here. And if you're playing on like the hardest setting, there's like a certain set way to kind of approach this. You could kind of do it any way you want, but you're prioritizing like the use of different weapons and grenades and stuff to kind of like take down the elites first, so then you can clean up the grunts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And like there isn't a lot of games that kind of nail that so perfectly and in like in a fun way that you can also do with your friends at the same time. And I think that's like what's really special about it. So I think
co-op is great.
Yeah. Co-op is amazing. And if that stuff is still in there, I think the game would have been fine. So, and I guess the basis of my question of like, what is broken with it and what do they have to fix is like, if it's artwork, do they have to go through and redo all of like the texture work and all of the character models and stuff?
Yeah.
Like what is it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's broken about, unless there's something behind the scenes. Yeah. It could be a lot. Right. And if it's something behind the scenes where like the gameplay, the flow and the mechanics are broken, then it's like in a really bad shape. And they don't like touch the graphic stuff. That could be even that's like where I think, Brian, you're right. Like maybe this doesn't come out next year, but they
may have just forgotten to turn RTX on.
I also wonder if Halo has been a victim of its own success, because I think part of it was, for the time, it was so groundbreaking. But just the fact that it was this a Space Odyssey FPS on console. It had a new control scheme. And there just wasn't, I don't know if there was anything like that on consoles before that, or there certainly didn't do it as big as Halo did it. But now, over a decade late, 15 years, some odd later, I think so many games have been influenced and taken things and kind of improved. It's like a band or a movie where it's like, okay, you might not think much of them in 2020, but back, 30 years ago, you have to kind of put it in context of the time. Not saying that, but I just, the newer Halo games, I don't think have ever lived up to what those first 2 or 3 did.
Yeah.
Sure.
What was the, cause didn't the first Halo sort of like, wasn't that one of the first games to really cement the thumbstick controls as like the free look and movement? I've seen that written about. Like, it was done before Halo, I know, but I have heard that was like, one of the first games to really like solidify that as like, this is what every game does now.
Right.
Yeah.
I know there were others, but
I feel like it was kind of inevitable in that way. But I think like just like the dorm room presence of like Halo and like the kind of like the zeitgeist of that game kind of hitting everywhere, and people just figuring out, people who probably weren't even like PC gamers before, like figuring out how to LAN Xboxes together so they could play with their friends and stuff. Like there was a lot of that going on. People moving CRTs around so they could do that. I remember a lot of that stuff happening, and like control schemes are always weird because I always feel like someone's going to come in eventually, but I think Halo definitely gets the credit for like making it mainstream in that way, because before that it was like GoldenEye and you're messing with C buttons,
which is
it's
terrible. Controls.
It is.
Well, but to use another example, I mean, Zelda Ocarina of Time, you play it now, and if you don't have any understanding of the history, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is just sort of a rudimentary looking open world game. But in 1997, 98, whenever it came, it was mind blowing. There just wasn't
Z targeting.
Yeah, there wasn't anything like that. And I feel like maybe they were, I don't know if they're looking to kind of reboot Halo, but like, Doom proved that it can be done, but that was a very ambitious reboot, and it kind of took a lot of chances, and it paid off. But I think when you're working at a huge company with a huge parent company like Microsoft, I think there might be fewer risks you can take in terms of where do we want to take Halo from here, and how do we want to move it forward.
Yeah, it seems like there could be a lot of complications. And I think, Patrick, you hit a really interesting point. Like, if you think of Halo as like the the Mario 64 of like the first person shooter of like it introduces like this 3D platforming in a new way that people didn't experience. And you think about like how many like Mario games there have been and the way they treat that franchise and iterate on it compared to how many Halo games they have been. Been. It's like it's vastly different, right? And you can see them strike out sometimes too, where they added like Call of Duty systems into Halo. Like left trigger, right trigger was a big thing for a while that Halo just didn't have. Right. And that was like huge. Like that the Call of Duty came and just took the FPS world by storm. That was like the new norm. Right. And Halo felt like from then on, like it was trying to catch up. I still love Halo so much more than Call of Duty personally. But I like both games, but it's like, yeah, what do you even do with that franchise now? How do you make it? It goes back to that problem with like Valve and Half-Life, where like we just didn't make a Half-Life 3 because we can't do that again. We can't like be this.
And there's so much expectation built up around it because it's become such a legendary franchise. And Halo, you can tell they're very aware at all times they're making a new Halo game and they know it has to be good. It's not like they're just making something from scratch where they can just kind of put it out there and hopefully it works. I mean, there's so much weight around that and so many, I think, traditions they need to kind of hew to that. I think it hurts in a situation like this.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of next gen consoles, the PS5 is out in the wild. I think people have like legit PS5s now. I don't think these are just review, like temporary review units or something. And because we're seeing lots of outlets, lots of YouTubers get their hands on it. They're still limited in what they can talk about, but we've definitely gotten lots of cool takes on how big it is, and it is massive.
It's
and
fucking huge.
It's huge, and the controller is really cool. That's what I've heard. The haptics on the controller, those are the two takeaways so far.
The most recent picture I saw was a Game Gear sitting on top of an Xbox Series X next to a PS5, and I wasn't even sure if it was real because the Game Gear I remember being huge, maybe because I was a little kid, but it looked like a piece of candy. Like it looked like a run, like a piece
there was the Game Gear. Which was the one that had the full-size cartridges you put in? That you could play Genesis games with. Was that Game Gear? Was that...
No, that wasn't Game Gear. That's something completely different. But Game Gear had its own little cartridges.
Game Gear had the small... Okay.
I think there is a smaller version. I wasn't sure if it was
called the Soldier Boy handheld.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but it's wild. But yeah, the most exciting thing to me is all the takes on the controllers that are coming back that are saying like, this is actually, you're not going to understand this till you actually play it. And we got like some of that with HE Rumble with Switch, but I don't think it really landed there. They had like some mini games that used it. You could like roll a ball around, but people are talking about like, on the DualSense, the new PS5 controller, you can feel like raindrops and stuff, and like that the haptic feedback in it is just like something new. There's a couple of headlines you can go out there and find that are just like, this is like game changing. This is like a new approach to how like Rumble feels in controllers. And I see a lot of skeptical takes too, like in our comments and a lot of other people's comments, just like, nah, this is just gonna be like whatever Rumble where it's either like on or off or it's like more or less. But if it's true and like this stuff really is that amazing, that is something that's super exciting to me. The way we play our games, just in general, whether it's VR with new controllers, I think is something that could stand to improve a lot or change a lot and really change the way we think about how we play games in general.
Yeah. I've heard more than one person say that the controller feels more next gen than any of the games.
There it is.
Which I don't know if that's good or bad, but it does. Yeah, I think the variety of the responses on the feedback, and then the triggers, how there's like resistance, and then there's just there's all the just this varied level of kind of pressure you can put on and resistance you get back from the triggers. It sounds cool. It sounds like an interesting way to take it. Like, okay, if we have to have a controller, if we have to be a console and have a real controller, we're just going to make it as cool as possible. Which I think is a smart move on their part.
Oh, and other than like basic, I don't know, design changes in like the shape of the controllers have been pretty much the same since like for a long time now.
Yeah,
I mean, since the Rumble Pack got integrated into the thing,
into the 64 or whatever.
They've been like shape has changed either a little or a lot if you're Nintendo, but I mean the PlayStation controllers especially, like I mean,
they added those sticks, and that was about it. That was sticks, pretty much the same.
Which you could get for the original PlayStation 2. They had versions that had the sticks.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, we haven't seen. I don't think we've seen the UI yet. No, that's right. We've just seen the Series X. But that'll be. I think that's sort of the last big missing piece. And then more games, obviously. But it's an exciting time. I love this time of year and when a new console's being rolled out, because it's just like it only happens like every 7 or 8 years, so it's always fun to see.
Well, the hype will never get greater than it is about to be right before consoles come out. That's right. That's the ride, right? Like that happens with everything, with movies, with games, especially with new consoles, because like you said, it's 8 years, but the hype will never be greater than it is like right now and tomorrow until like November 10th and November 11th and 12th, when those consoles actually come out, and everybody has a chance to like get excited about them and play things and be excited then. But even then, once you have that hands-on experience, the kind of like the speculation and all the antsiness kind of dies down, and it's kind of like, this is what they are now, and we know.
Yeah. Oh wait, and let me add. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. No, they have revealed the UX. That's right.
Yeah,
Sony did reveal it. I think I just meant that people who got the advanced units weren't allowed to show that.
Yeah, they have a series.
But we know what the UX looks like.
They have a series of NDAs, it sounds like. And the first one was the control, or the reveal, like taking a picture of it, but probably not taking a picture of the box was the first one. The second one was the controller, clearly. The third one we'll know soon enough. Probably next week it'll be something else. But yeah, they did that UI UX video, right? And they showed like Little Big Planet, and they showed like watching your friends play gameplay while you play along. They showed that tagging the card system, right? All of that new kind of interesting stuff. There's a pretty cool piece, I think it's on Vice, about or X Waypoint or whatever you want to call it, about how that tag system or that card system might change the whole entire industry around guides and guidebooks and stuff like that, which apparently makes a lot of money. I didn't even realize, but yeah.
The article's called "How a Heroin Addicted Stripper Living in Brooklyn Wrote a Guidebook to PS5" or something like that, probably. Right? Yes. That's what Vice does, isn't it?
That's their beat.
Yes.
Isn't that their thing?
That's such a Vice headline. Yeah. Yes, amazing. So yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a tease, and I know that's by design. It's like we only learn a few new things. It's like they can only talk about X and Y, 2 things, and so that's all they talk about. And I don't know, it does have me excited to see more, especially that UX, like in people using it and what that's like. It does seem really interesting that like y'all were talking about the card system and all that. So
good luck getting one.
I'm still waiting.
Even if you pre-ordered, it's still
true.
Apparently a lot of pre-orders may have to be canceled now.
Apparently Best Buy is going to have some on Black Friday, so get in line now and you'll be...
Don't believe it. Don't believe a word of that nonsense. I saw like
hype.
Yeah, I saw like an Xbox Series X in a Target magazine, and I was like, this is not going to be in your store for like another 4 or 5 months, probably in retail. I mean,
maybe you'll have 2.
They'll each have 4 or 5 or something, or maybe even 10. But like, to serve as a whole city of people that want an Xbox, it's just not going to happen. It's going to be rough.
No, and this is a problem that all launch consoles have. I mean, there've always been shortages, or at least when they're really popular.
Even before COVID.
Bet. Yeah, that's right.
Here we go.
I can't imagine going out on a Black Friday shopping spree in this friggin' era of during flu season. Like, that's just a death wish, right?
Do you think they're gonna like have normal Black Friday?
Oh yeah, I think they're going to be people packed into Targets and Walmarts and all that shit. Yes, absolutely.
But like, do you think the stores? Of course they will. What am I talking about? But
we have shown as a society we're willing to die over the dumbest shit. So,
especially if it's a cheap TV.
Oh, that's what could be more American.
It goes cheap TV. Your children.
Yes.
And then, something like next gen console or a deal on a camera or football. Yep. Football's right in there too. Yeah.
Maybe shoes. So people like shoes a lot. Yeah.
Shoes.
Yep. Shoes. Yep. Mm-hmm. We also like to murder. We also like to kill for shoes.
Yeah,
that's true. Or our right to carry semi-automatics in public.
That's also another,
yes.
Yep.
Are you guys planning on, if you're getting a next gen console, which are you getting first? I feel like I would lean
PS5.
toward the PS5. Yeah,
100% PS5.
Yeah,
just because of the
no
PC
contest.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't have I mean, it's weird that to position it like that because I don't really have a choice. Like I got an Xbox Series X pre-order. And I would get the PS5 over the Xbox Series X, but it was harder to get that pre-order. So
you're taking what you can get.
Yes, exactly. At this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully, in a week or so or whatever, when stock comes back up, there's another chance to get one. Hopefully I'll get a PS5 then. And then obviously it's just like whichever one comes in the mail first, if it's even going to work right.
That's the one I feel a little more jealous about, the people who got, because I feel like just because like Miles Morales and even with Demon Souls, those are two I would really like to play as soon as possible. And the other stuff, I don't think anything the Series X has. Like I got a 1X and I got Game Pass, so I feel like I'm set for a while.
And I have a PC and Game Pass, so
yeah.
So you're set for
pretty much everything is going to come to that anyway.
Right.
But the PS5 definitely has some exclusives that I very much want to play, but
I just want to see.
They're not giving us anything, nor is Xbox.
Oh, you mean like
there is no free shit coming to Inside Gaming.
Oh no, yeah.
So. If y'all think we're paid off, think again. I wish.
No. Yeah.
I feel like, what was I going to say? I part of me wants to like wait a few months, but then I worry that the PS5, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, if you don't get it right off, you're going to have to wait like 6 months for them to come around.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could happen. I think that happened to me with the GameCube. It took me a long time to like actually
get
the
Wii
one.
Took me forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
oh, really?
Kind of wasn't. Yeah. It is funny though how old-fashioned Sony's strategy is though, because it's like everybody else is into cloud gaming and Game Pass and the Switch is doing its own thing, but Sony's like, no, we're just going to make exclusives. You have to buy the console. That's it. It's the oldest school strategy there is, and it's still working.
The Wii was wild because if you wanted one, you basically had to stay up all night in front of a retail store.
Yeah,
like I did that.
I don't remember how we got ours because we got one pretty quickly. I think like we didn't really have any trouble getting one from what I remember.
It became a crossover thing though, because they were showing like news. The news stations would show people in nursing homes doing the bowling and shit.
Yeah,
like, it's like, oh, this is finally getting us exercising. And it didn't last, of course. But
no.
For a little while.
Yeah, I remember just walking into a Best Buy once, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do a Wii line in like 10 minutes," and I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna stand in this. I already have one, and I don't need one. But this is such a rare commodity that somebody's gonna take it." So I ended up just getting
sell this on eBay.
Yeah, and then like a neighbor just traded the cash for it. So, but yeah,
damn,
it was just luck. I don't know. That was a crazy time.
All right, let's talk questions from the audience. We have a few in response to our question. Follow us on Twitter at Inside Gaming. This first one from Emily Snow. I just got a new PC, speaking of PCs, and I can finally play games that were made after 2014. Congratulations, Emily.
Hey.
Welcome.
Yes.
What games from the last few years should I play? It's kind of a big question. They go on to say, I really enjoy... yeah. I really enjoyed the IG podcast. Hold on. She's being nice to us, so I want to read
Oh, yeah, please. Go ahead.
I really enjoyed the IG podcast. I look forward to it every Friday. Thank you for making these last few months a little more bearable. Thank you, Emily. Definitely Witcher 3.
Red Dead 2 for me. Yep. I'm just thinking, because there's a lot of good indie games, but I'm thinking like big AAA stuff because I feel like indie games you could play on a machine from 10 years ago still.
Yes.
Sure.
For me, it would be, let's see, Horizon Zero Dawn. Kind of similar, just open worldy, but that game just has such a cool story and new IP. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of the PC indie stuff now has made its way to Switch too. So if you already had a Switch, you'd be okay. But mostly like the only thing I can think of is like Celeste and like, I don't know.
What about Control?
Yeah, Control. That's good.
On,
but Ultimate Edition is coming. I don't know if you want to wait on that one or whatever.
And it came out on Switch, right?
Their cloud gaming thing.
What the fuck? It's so weird. Yeah,
that excellent Switch Online you'll be able to put to the test.
It's a beautiful experience on there.
What could go wrong?
No. Yeah.
let's see what else. I feel like there's some major ones I'm leaving out here.
I feel like
there definitely are.
Yeah,
it's like Death Stranding. I don't know, Final Fantasy shit probably for you, Brian, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, if you like JRPGs, there's Dragon Quest 11. Final Fantasy 15 is okay. Persona 5, I believe, is on PC now.
So get into an MMO. Guild Wars 2 is a thing.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah, like you said, Final Fantasy 14 or whatever. Is it 14 or 16 now? I forget. 16 is the new one.
14 is the MMO. 16 is the one coming up. Right. Yeah.
They just released pictures for that last night. Did you catch them, Brian?
I did, I'm excited. So that's all we can think of, Emily. Let's see.
Chex Quest HD.
There you
go. Pajama Sam.
Oh, Sekiro, if you're into that kind of thing.
Sekiro, yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's on.
You can PC, skip Avengers.
You can definitely skip Avengers. Yes. Mystic8368 asks, with most next-gen games being playable on the older systems, why isn't Sony doing a better job shouting out the ability to play PS4 games the same way Xbox is with BC, backwards compatibility? I imagine with the pandemic, each system's exclusive titles will continue being delayed until mid-next year. They've talked a little bit about it, but I just don't think they think it's as much of a priority as Microsoft does.
Yeah, and
like Microsoft wants you to play every old game on the Series X.
Well, and I think PlayStation is probably looking more to bundle it as a service like they do now with PS Now. Yeah. Maybe they'll expand it, but I feel like that's probably more where their priority would be, is packaging backwards compatibility as some kind of service, or like you said, they just don't care. They don't think it's that big a deal. Or they just don't want to commit to anything the way that Microsoft has.
I think
they just want to be like, we'll make backwards compatible games when we feel like it on our terms, but we're not promising that everything will be backwards compatible.
The most you're going to get is the PS Plus collection. Those old PS4 games.
And that's tied to Plus. And I think someone brought up on this show before, like you're saying, Patrick, like when we feel like it, it's like those could go away because they're tied to that Plus service or to that subscription. So if you stop subscribing, you don't get them anymore. And I mean, similar to the way it kind of works on with Game Pass. They're not the same. They have their differences. But yeah, I think like I didn't think of that before. Somebody mentioned it on here. Is that that Plus collection of PS4 classics could just go away, and that's kind of frightening, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. Well, that's You just, millennials and Zoomers wanted everything digital, and this is what you get.
I'm okay
just never get rid of a console. I know the money is tempting, especially trade-ins.
That is true. Yes, I know.
I have never...
Don't do it.
Whatever money I've ever gotten from selling consoles, I would gladly give back to have the console back.
Yes, I've always regretted it. Yes.
Even with games. Even like there's... I mean, if it's just dog shit and you don't like it, whatever, get rid of it. But like there's so many games that I've had for like Xbox, whatever, all these previous generations that I sold in order to buy a new game. And now I'm just like, whatever... $10 I got, I could have mowed another lawn that week.
Right.
Like now it's just insanely difficult to play this game. Especially like with Xbox, where even emulating it is impossible. It's so hard.
If you're broke, I get it. I've totally been there at points in my life where it's like I have to sell everything I'm not immediately playing.
And I have done that
to make it through the month. Totally. Me too. Yeah.
I traded.
If you
go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just saying if you don't have to, don't do it.
Yeah, I traded in a PS2 and sold my GameCube with like all my games to a friend so I could afford a new Xbox 360. And it was not like I should have just waited. Like I could have just waited to play Gears of War. You know, I wouldn't have been in on the zeitgeist or whatever, but that game still would have been just as good. But like now, like when Melee came back in a big way, I didn't have my copy of Melee because I sold it like an idiot. And I really loved that game. Like I loved it so much, but I wanted to be on the cutting edge and to play all the new games that were coming out for 360. And
it's hard. It's hard to be left out.
Yeah, and it's hard to make that call too because you're like, this is the new stuff, and this is like you want to be invested in. I don't know. For me, like I wanted to be invested in the industry and know what the current stuff that was happening was. But yeah, I like those are two amazing consoles that I never should have sold ever. Like PS2.
I think. I think too social media and Twitter, it's hard to be left out.
It's even worse.
Like when everybody's because like I just remember with Animal Crossing and things like that, it's like I want to be in on this. I want to be posting dopey screenshots too of my stupid little island.
It's weird for us too, right? Because like we're not getting these things for free. We're not getting them sent to us. No one's buying these for us.
Oh,
yet we're also like definitely expected to
cover stuff.
We should be able to expense out all these games,
right? Or like a console.
I agree.
How the fuck 100%. Am I supposed to cover this? But also, it's like $500. Like, Rooster Teeth, my salary is in the $3 to $4 mil a year range. Obviously,
right? You can't.
It's not a prop. Money is no issue for any of us at all. But
still, it's a respect thing. It was out of
that's
respect.
Right. It's respect.
It was out of respect.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Lucent Orb asks, now that Autumn has departed, who is the new boss at IG? How is everyone adjusting? It's Omar.
We're kind of we're an anarcho syndicate now.
Yeah.
We're a 100% communist organization.
That's
Everyone gets a vote, each according to his talents, each according to his means. Yes.
If you really want the inside baseball, though, we all have different roles now. So we can say like Omar's kind of our supervisor, but
he's kind of always been, right? Like there was just
in a way.
Well, he was Autumn's boss. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Omar is sort of our supervisor, but he essentially lets us run the run the ship.
That's right.
Omar is just there in case we need,
based on the guidelines that Autumn had already set up and was like operating under. But now we just have to do it without her. So it's harder in some way. It's different. But the responsibilities are kind of split up among everybody, like Patrick said. And that makes it easier in some ways too.
It's similar to how it was when Ashley left the No, and then it was just like we went under broadcast. So Patrick Salazar was our boss. But they let us kind of do a very similar thing, but then it was just the three of us. It's kind of similar in the sense of everybody's just kind of, it's like we're adults and we can do our job. Like it's not, we don't need somebody like standing over us watching the clock, especially not me at all. I think I should be able to do whatever I want.
That's right. You should. Don't let anyone ever tell you.
So if you really don't like the daily message, Brian.
It's my fault.
Yeah.
I don't know. Asked Wednesday, hump day. We've seen Brian hump. We've seen Patrick hump. Why no Connor, Zach, Caden, Evan, Amir, or Alana humps? Well, Alana doesn't work here anymore, so that's why no Alana
That's part of it, yeah.
We the people demand equal hump presentation. Well, I can't speak for others. I think it's because me, Patrick, and Connor are always the ones on the Wednesday read, so that's probably why.
I mean, that's
there's
the
a
main
schedule,
issue. You can reach out to Connor personally and tell them that you would love to see them hump.
Connor loves getting feedback like that, so just blow up their Twitter. Yeah.
Yes.
RCHI asks what that mouth do. What would you like it to?
The questions this week.
Wow. Yeah, whatever you want. It depends on.
I'm just reading them all today. I'm reading them all. I don't care any random ones. I'm just reading them.
It depends what that wallet do.
What games you got? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this mouth mostly just talk about games till everybody tells me to shut up, but
this mouth don't do much unless six figures are on the table.
That's right. That's right. This mouth will do just about anything for $10. So
number one, the no fan Dylan, still rocking that Twitter name. Asks, I have a massive crush on this wonderful girl. I can't sleep. I can't even game because she's always on my mind, making my heart ache. What can I do as a humble gamer to win her over? One, stop playing video games. I would say
that's step one. That's
for the short term. Yes.
I think that's horrible advice because then you're going to end up with somebody who doesn't also like video games. So when you want to start again, it's going to be extra hard. So you got to get someone that understands a little. I feel like in this modern age, there was a time when it was believed that like not a lot of girls played video games. They were out there, but they were harder to find, I will say. I mean, I barely met like girls in high school or whenever that would like sit down and play video games. They usually would just like girls would come and hang out and watch dudes play video games
and boredly watch you play GTA.
Yeah, it sucked 3. For them.
I forgot that was like a thing.
Yeah,
that would happen.
That was totally a thing. It didn't bother me at all. I'm like, keep watching.
I had a friend once who was like, he was supposed to go on a date night, but Resident Evil 2 had just come out, and he was like, babe, this is what we're going to do. I got this Resident Evil 2 strategy guide. We're going to sit here and we're going to play the entire game over the course of the night. And I'm pretty sure she like broke up with him on the spot or something, but
that's a good move.
It's been rough, but if you could do that and then the other person says, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it, then you just marry them right there on the spot.
I feel like times are different though now. It's actually legal for women to play games, so that was certainly not the case when I was a child.
It's decriminalized.
That's true. That's right. For medical purposes, at least.
It's not legal fully, but within the next few years, probably. Yeah.
You're not going to get arrested. You might get a little. You might get a class
slap on the wrist.
It's like a traffic ticket now.
Girls can't be won over. Also, maybe that's just a thing that we should say.
Probably, but
you gotta.
I would say if you really like her, let her know.
Let her go. If you love something, let it go. You have to, right?
Just don't say anything ever, and just hold on to it, and that way you'll never have to possibly be rejected.
Yep.
Gosh, we are not the right people probably for relationship advice.
No.
Brian and I have been married for a while. Patrick, you're about to get married. I don't know how this happened. Every day I'm like, how did this happen? Who is foolish enough to marry? I don't know. This guy.
Last question from Brian with an I, even spelled it the correct way. So we're definitely going to read Brian's question. What are your personal views on game delays between Cyberpunk getting delayed but having their people still crunch and No Man's Sky coming out way too early? It feels like you just can't win. I'm pro game delays. I think
every game should be delayed.
Yes, the waiting's more fun than actually playing them because
that's
in
usually
your mind, you're just thinking about all the cool shit, and it's never like quite as good. You know what I mean? So just enjoy this time, savor it. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. I agree with that fully. I think that every game should be delayed to the point that we don't get any new games ever again, and we're stuck with what we have right now. I think we have more than enough good games.
That's true. Just play all of those and get awesome at all of them. Min-max your character in every single game you own.
We have so many games. We do not need any more. We have enough for a lifetime.
You can work on your speed running. You can work on all kinds of things you can do.
So that's what I think. And we still get trailers and stuff. Those games just don't come out though.
You should take this
question.
No
new games is a really unique position. I like
exactly.
I was going to say, take this question off
a notch. I will stand by it.
And ask us what we think about game cancellations. Should StarCraft Ghost have ever come out?
Also all good. Yeah. We agree with all of them.
But also think about Duke Nukem Forever. That game got delayed forever, and then they finally
and then it came out and blew everyone away.
Yeah, it was amazing game.
And we all loved it, and we're still talking about it.
I like all games, especially the ones that give me money. And if people criticize them, I accuse them of not being positive enough and just being really negative. That's my own personal.
That's right.
Things. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. That's all. That's all I got. We're done with questions, and we don't have an ad to read, so I think we're done.
Perfect.
A little more loosey goosey podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
Yeah. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Look, I've been worried about this for a really long time in video games, and it's like my biggest fear with Stadia, which I know I've spoken to you about, Caden, is like the idea that they could just put an ad before you get to see a cutscene or something. And I feel like it's almost inevitable because there is so much money in advertising that surely publishers are like,